Kendall Ananyi, CEO of Tizeti, joins me to discuss this. Kendall, thank you for taking the time out to join us today. What we're hearing is this strong interest, but bring us up to speed on the scale of the investments that we're seeing, the opportunities, and just the trend, recent trends that we've been seeing.
Oh, huge. I know mid-last month, we all welcomed the first landing of the Google cable to Togo, which in itself is going to drive a lot of investment into Togo. But it's planned from Portugal, all traffic are going to land in Nigeria as well. And obviously, with every new cable that lands in Nigeria, broadband prices drop significantly because the wholesale price at which internet providers buy broadband drops significantly, and you can make longer-term contracts with those providers. But that's not the only thing that's really happening around the digital infrastructure space. If you look at the fixed broadband area, which is where I am, we just announced a partnership with Microsoft to go into Oyo State. If you look around the fiber, Lagos State had a partnership with WTS project around fiber across Lagos. This is something we've been expecting for a long time. And so internet providers and mobile providers can then latch onto this fiber to provide service to their customer. On the satellite side, early last year, NCC issued a bunch of licenses to all of the major satellite companies, one of them SpaceX. And so in a short while, they will also be in Nigeria. And then if you look at the data center space too, Meewon launched the MDXI in 2015, 600 racks, and they've basically, just yesterday, they've also expanded with their MDXI Lekki 2 too. So that's huge, which will also enable cloud computing. And then if you look at the tech space, with the fintech space, health tech, all of the apps that are going to be enabled on top of this infrastructure, it's really exciting time to be a player in the digital infrastructure space today.
Oh, absolutely. But, not to downplay any of this, it's obviously, we're seeing the numbers growing, but, to put this in a broader context, despite, the several broadband plans and policies, especially in a country with like Nigeria, with the size of the population, and of course, on the African continent, the number of Africans who still do not have access to the internet, and of course, the development outcomes that come with it is still put at around over 540 million. So obviously, there is still a lot, that's been untapped. What are the opportunities to leapfrog? Are we going at a good pace? Because development outcomes are very critical, especially for a continent like Africa. So if we still have so many people outside of the bracket, then, they're losing out on so many good things.
Correct. I agree with you totally. But there's a lot of, which is, like you said, opportunities. So there's a lot happening and has to happen. If you look at what happened 2020 in Nigeria, the NCC put out the Nigerian National Broadband Plan, which basically is trying to achieve download speeds of 25 Mbps in the urban area and 10 Mbps in the rural area, and trying to crash broadband prices such that is below 1% of minimum wage. They're targeting 390 naira per gig. Tizeti, which are down market product, is already ahead of that. We're already charging about 500 naira for 1.5 gig. And you would have seen all the telcos, their prices has tracked downwards over time, making it more affordable for people. Data is life, one of their taglines. You can see how penetration has happened. And it's also, COVID also accelerated a lot of this too, right? So you see people now having internet in their home, but there's still a lot that can be done. And this is where the opportunity is. Access to capital, you kind of flog that itself. So I think the pension funds, asset managers need to do a lot more, because they are the ones supposed to be funding infrastructure projects, but they typically lend to the government itself versus the private sector, right? On the policy side, when you want to improve broadband penetration, things like building base station, site acquisition around, getting permits for that, there's opportunity for that to be improved. The timing has improved. But one of the good things that the NCC has also done, access to spectrum. We saw the 5G auction complete last year. Very exciting opportunity that will bring, because with 5G, there's going to be a lot of equipment coming in, being shipped into the country, site locations, because the coverage area of 5G is a lot less. So the telcos are going to have to need a lot more space to install their towers and their masts. that generates revenue for the local community. So if you're someone with a rooftop, you might see a telco coming to knock on your door to sign a long lease with you. You can think of how things change with first generation of broadband. This is with the first generation. Over the next 18 months, we'll see a lot of activity, economic activity tied to that itself. So there's opportunities for across everything, across every space. And we'll also see improvements, healthcare, education, once there's broadband, improved broadband penetration. But most important one that I don't see a lot of activity is fiber between the states. And so there's a lot of fiber infrastructure in Lagos, in Ogun, in Rivers, Edo, but across the 36 states, not as much. And if you compare that to Ghana, where we also operate to, C-Squared, which is a Google spin-off, has fiber in a lot of locations, and I think we need to mirror that kind of public-private partnership to do that, because great enough, Equino is coming, other cables like Facebook to Africa is coming, but if you don't have the fiber network connecting the states, you won't see as much of the impact when the cable lands as you are. For me, on my own part, in Tizeti, seeing that the Equino has landed in Togo, we're getting ready to launch in Togo as our next country.
Now, I was going to ask you about the similarities between both countries, Nigeria and Ghana, and some of the issues. You talked about state-to-state fiber connectivity. I know that an issue such as right of way is one issue here in Nigeria. What are the similarities in those challenges between Nigeria and Ghana?
So Nigeria and Ghana, I would say they are par, right? Because where you have some advantages, so Ghana has stable power, and so you don't spend as much capex on the power side of things versus Nigeria, where we have to use solar power to man our towers to prevent us having to deal with diesel and getting diesel to our generator. But in terms of permitting, things have improved significantly. So the cost is there. The cost a little cheaper in Ghana because they have the fiber infrastructure, which you are just getting fiber off of, versus Nigeria, where we've only just done major fiber builds in Lagos, Edo, and Ogun. And then I think there's a little bit of activity happening now in Port Harcourt. But we need that kind of infrastructure and obviously the policies that enable that and permitting, and obviously beyond just saying right of way, actually being able to actually deploy that fiber, work with the communities to have fiber, more expansive fiber across Nigeria. That way it would